Hi again. If you haven't seen my introduction video, go back and check that out. But my name's Heidi, and I'm sharing a week with Cheryl, the mom of 6 boys. She's doing a Wednesday, I'm doing a Wednesday. So I'm the lucky one that got this topic. Cheryl, I think you dodged a bullet on this one. Disciplining your kids. Oh man, it's like the best thing to talk about ever. But it's a reality, right? We're moms and we have kids that aren't perfect. Shocker. If they're tips for you, great. If you know this stuff already, you can just be like, yeah, do that, do that, do that. But anyway, so the first thing I try to do, besides not getting angry, is if they're getting crazy, of course part of your initial reaction is to be like, oh, stop that. But really, discipline happens the best when you are able to be calm and talk to them, not as adults, but just kind of like talk to them on their level and not be mad at them. Because you don't want them to be doing the right thing because mom is mad. You want them to learn how to figure out what the right thing to do is and then continue doing the right thing for the rest of their life. I mean, these are life skills. It's more than just having a good kid. I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, and their names are Aiden and Declan. Okay, so this is what I do. So I assess the situation, like, okay, what's going on? Do I need to separate them or whatever? And one of the things that a parenting class we went to suggested was this method called HALT, and it's just first determining like what's wrong with your kid, basically. And it stands for hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. And that kind of helps you figure out if this is what I call mommy error, or if this is something that needs to be corrected. So, if they're hungry, they're gonna freak out more because they're hungry, okay? So I'm like, give the kid a cracker or something. Well, angry is pretty easy because if they're angry, they're angry. But then just trying to figure out what they're angry about. So what I do with my boys, since they're both talking now, which is huge and so helpful with correction, is to try to figure out what they're angry about. Sometimes you can obviously tell, like if they're fighting over the same toy, obviously they're angry. But sometimes they're just angry or in a funk or just grumpy, and you're just like, what is the matter with you? Not like that, but that's what you're thinking, right, moms? So I'll just ask them, what's wrong, buddy? What's wrong? And usually they can sort of come up with something. If they're not able to come up with something, I usually try sort of hugging it out, because sometimes that can lead into the L of HALT, where they're just lonely and they're just acting out because they're just, I don't know, they're just kind of in a bummer mood and sad. And one thing that I've told my husband before is if I just kind of seem grumpy and or whatever, like if I just kind of have like my porcupines out, like needles out or whatever, really, like if I've told him before, just if you just like came over and gave me a hug, I would probably start crying, because there's like this thing, like if you're stressed out or just grumpy or whatever, that you really do just need a hug. And kids are the same way. I mean, all the emotions we feel, they feel, and they're not even really able to assess what's going on. Well, sometimes I'm not able to assess what's going on. And the L I kind of covered with lonely. I mean, how sad if your kid's lonely, and especially with YouTube and stuff, I try to do all my work while they are napping, or while they were napping. Channel name. Well, Aiden hasn't been napping, and that's fine. He's 4, and we knew we'd get there eventually, but that makes it a little difficult because sometimes he feels like, mommy's working or whatever, and I really do not want that to be the case. Like, I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I really want to take advantage of that. So I try to work other times. And then the T of HALT is tired. Now, if your kid's still napping and you're pushing them all day, or you're like, I have one more errand to do, and then they have a fit in Target. I mean, I'm sorry to say it, but that is what I consider mommy error. So yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, they can only be pushed so far, and if they have a routine, they're just not gonna handle it well. I mean, how many times have you been out in a store or out to eat, and someone's there when you're like, it's probably their bedtime if it's 9 o'clock, you know? As far as discipline goes, it's kind of the same at home and out, honestly. I mean, the only thing that's different is at home we have like a door that they sit by. So it's like this little nook downstairs that they'll sit in. And I don't really do the whole like timeout where they sit by themselves and they're like, hey, you think about that. And then they're like, I don't really walk away from them. And also I don't leave them to tantrum without me there. Yeah, it takes a little more time. But what I've seen is that I'm not just trying to correct an action like an animal. No, stop that, you know, like stop that behavior. But what I'm learning more and more is that you're really trying to reach the heart. It's not about changing what's in their mind, like, oh, my mom gets mad when I do that, so I gotta stop that. Like it's not, I don't know how to say it. I'm not as worried about behavioral stuff as I am what is going on inside their little heart, you know? Like sometimes, like if I would snap at my kids or whatever, like, stop, you know, stop that. Or like if I'm like upset and angry, it's like you can see their little like spirit just drop and they're just like, oh, you know, so I'm just really trying to be careful about that. If I am out, it's pretty much the same deal, except for if I've been shopping or whatever, I do leave my cart and everything in it. I have like a little paper that just I shove in my purse, and it literally just says, you know, like, need to take care of my child, be back in a few minutes, and I just leave it on the cart so that I can, and they don't know if you've just taken your child to the potty or if you're dealing with something else. So it's not like drawing attention to the fact that you're correcting your child, you know, but it also gives you a chance to correct them and to bring them back to where you were and like, okay, let's try this again. I take them to the car if I'm at a grocery store because it's really hard to get privacy in a grocery store, especially with 2 kids. So I take them to the car. And but if we're at a restaurant and I have John with me, we'll take turns taking them out and talking to them. We don't do the correction at the table because then it's like, you just never know if your kid's gonna freak out. Deal with the behavior outside and talk to them about what's going on in their heart. I hope that kind of covers it. I mean, it's more like, yeah, basically heart issues. We're really just trying to get to the heart. And, you know, if my kids aren't, you know, perfectly behaved in public through their years or whatever, but they have a genuine heart that's been nurtured, then that is what John and I are more concerned about. So I know everyone has their own philosophy on parenting, but that is ours. Hopefully this is helpful to you and hopefully not too long. I feel like I rambled really long. Sorry. And I will see you not next Wednesday, but the following Wednesday. So you'll see Cheryl next Wednesday and then me again. So hopefully I will see you again. Thanks for tuning in to Mom Talk TV. Bye.